Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Elke, welcome back to the Jen and Elke Clark Show. We love talking about Zazzle, and you are going to love Zazzle too. It's a print-on-demand platform that we've made money on since 2008. We've been coaching people on how to make money on the platform since 2017 and have helped our clients sell over $165 million worth on the platform. Now, this is not to boast, it's just to say, hey, there's a lot of opportunity over here in the Zazzle world compared to the Etsy world.
Mm.
So many people say like, I'm an Etsy seller and I'm so excited. And we go like, why?
Well, we
Why
can
would
also
you
say
do
that
that?
because
Why would
because
you literally do that? And everyone goes, because there's like the traffic's so good over there and there's like I can sell so much over there. And they're going like, but you have to pay for listing fees. You have to pay. You have to deal with the income tax or the sales tax. You've got to always do customer service. Uh,
it's also
why?
limited. It's also limited in terms of if you're not a maker, like if you're not making
Yeah,
things in your house, then you're only really selling digital download products, and that's limiting in terms of the possibilities of your earnings.
exactly. Because on the Zazzle platform, there are 100 and actually there's 1,500 products to make
1,500.
almost a 1,500,000. No, it's incredible, and you get to list up to 100,000 products on your store before you have to start another account.
For
So,
free.
what's that?
For
And
free.
it's free. And it's free. Okay, so if this hasn't piqued your interest, then yes, this is the best time to start a platform on the Zazzle platform. Start your Zazzle store, become a Zazzle seller rather than an Etsy seller. We have so many converts that we help
Yeah.
coach in our one-on-one program to transfer over, and they just can't believe it. They're like, I was brainwashed over there, like literally. Like they're like, but don't you have to pay for listings? But don't you have to do this? And no. So let's get started as to why right now is the best time to be on the Zazzle platform. The first is April 1st, 2025. Zazzle came out with their new payment structure. And a lot of people on the platform that are currently trying to figure it all out as to how their royalties work out and stuff like that. They don't see the bigger picture in that Zazzle just gave us a handout because initially there was like this fancy program called Promoter Program 2.0, and everybody was so confused about it. But everyone, like with our training, we kept going like, you got to do this, do it, do it, do it. And whoever did made a lot of money because they could get up to like about 45% profit if they
Mhm.
self-referred. But now it's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker to just kind of figure out what the numbers are and how much you're going to get. And you get somewhere between 35 to 50% of the sale price of the product if you self-refer, which means drive traffic to your store, which is very easy to do when you do it properly with organic searches, right? You can't even actually pay for listings and ads because it's against the user agreement, because otherwise the price for the ads that Zazzle pays for would actually go up because Zazzle's promoting people and bringing them to the platform. And so you don't have to deal with ads and you don't have to pay for listings and you don't have to do this. And then in the meantime, the one thing that everyone always said is like, well, I'm on the platform on Etsy and I get more of the money. But no, you don't. Not if you're doing digital products where you like then you have to like use Printful or Printify, and so that they take a cut, right? And then even if you do digital downloads as your product, which also can be done on Zazzle for posters and for invitations, and I'm sure they'll get to more things down the road for sure, then that also require a lot of customer service, right? On the Zazzle platform, you don't have that. You don't need
Mhm.
to do customer service. Okay, so it's the payout has just become much more lucrative. Plus, there's no upfront costs. You can list, and the listings are on the store for 2.5 years, pretty much. I don't know the exact date, so I should have had that ready, but I don't. And then if you sell it once, it's always listed and
Mhm.
public. So unless the product's discontinued, you are set to go. And
Mhm.
that is just so much better than Etsy ever could be. Okay, what's the next one?
All right, the next one is that Zazzle is an all-in-one print-on-demand platform. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, well, what is print-on-demand exactly? Well, print-on-demand means that you're creating a product online and it's not officially made or printed or created yet until the customer actually buys it. And there's different options for print-on-demand. There's Printful, there's Printify, then you can post your listings on, Etsy or other places, right? And we know that we just talked about Etsy in terms of paying for your listing, and that is very limited unless you want to create digital downloads. So that's one option for an Etsy seller. Another option for an Etsy seller is to use a third party like Printful or Printify and create your products on their platform and then post your listing on the Etsy platform, because those platforms in itself aren't as, I would say, traffic based, right? Printful and Printify, they're just the fulfillment center, more or less. You can sell on their platforms, but it's not really your best option. You would have to then put it on Shopify or Etsy. So there is an opportunity to be an Etsy seller and sell other things other than digital downloads. However, there's so many different moving parts. You have to then create your designs in Canva or Kittl or somewhere, then upload those designs and use the very limited design tools that some of these platforms have, and then post your product for sale. Then click that link, grab that link, bring it to Etsy, do all these things. And just even talking about it makes me exhausted. So Zazzle actually incorporates all of those things all in their platform. You literally log into your account. You can choose from the 1,500 different product types and styles of these products on their platform. Zazzle has relationships with these manufacturers so that you can literally click a skateboard, a button, a sticker, a banner, duvet covers, cornhole sets, literally anything under the sun pretty much, and you choose that product, and then it opens it up in their in-house design tool. And so you can use now their design tool to create a really beautiful product. You don't even need to have graphics or photos or anything like that, and let alone even really skilled design skills, high design skills or high-end design skills before you can actually make a product. You can just use text-based products designs and upload them onto these products. And the design tool also has the opportunity to play around with different shapes and masking and patterns and all of that stuff. So learning the design tool is definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but it's actually very easy, right? It's just more so the more you learn about it, the more opportunities you have to create these really cool, intricate designs. And then once you create your product in the design tool, and you literally say, okay, done. And then you post the product for sale, and then you post it on the platform. So there's it's like a one-stop shop, right? Everything is all done for you. And your only responsibility, obviously, as a seller is to understand your niche, your product choice, your design style, and then understand titles and tags, because that's what makes your product sellable. But the fact that Zazzle offers all of these things for you as a designer slash seller is just amazing. And then in addition to that, you don't have to deal with customer service. You don't deal with handling or shipping or returns.
Product
Right?
fulfillment. Yeah. Product.
Everything just happens on its own, and then you end up getting the money in your account if you end up making a sale, right?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
But I think what I like about it too is that as the person like yourself, like whether it's Jen or I or you who we're talking to, wouldn't you rather spend more time creating more assets that will sell rather than creating the products to the customer who already paid for them? Then you have to do it again, right?
Hmm.
So it just doesn't make sense to be a maker. It makes sense to be a print-on-demand seller on Zazzle, which is so important because, first of all, whether you take that extra time that Zazzle, you pay Zazzle to do that, customer fulfillment and product fulfillment, customer service, customer billing, all that. Like so many of these Instagram sellers or sellers that post things on Instagram where they've got their entire office full of packages and they're all excited and they're printing off the shipping labels and I'm going like, you think this is a good thing? No, it's not a good thing. Yeah, you sold a lot, but how many hours did you spend, to get this number of dollars? We
Yeah.
don't we don't need to do that. We don't. Okay, what's the next one?
Okay. And the next one now is number 3, which is there isn't any customer service or dealing with sales tax, which we kind of talked about already, but we can dive into it a little bit more if you want.
And also the sales tax. Yeah. So many of the clients that we now have that love the Zazzle platform were just so overwhelmed by all the sales tax, right? Because if you're selling something physical, um, and you're selling to people all over the world, the tax part is not something that Etsy takes care of. Whereas in Zazzle, they have all these different domains for all these different countries, and they take care of all that.
Mhm.
So, end of story.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's why it's the best time to start a Zazzle store now, and instead of Etsy, right? Because there's a lot of people who are making the decision to work online, to start an online business, and there are a lot of opportunities out there. And for whatever reason, because Etsy just has a lot more traffic, Etsy was actually, I think maybe was it around before Zazzle? It kind of because I was on Etsy as well when we first started
Yeah.
out. And so people know Etsy, and it was quite funny because, if you talk to somebody and you're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm an Etsy seller." And you say, "Oh, well, that's so cool." But then when somebody says, "What's like a Zazzle?" And they're like, "Oh, what is Zazzle?" Right? What does that mean? And so it's the best time to start on Zazzle because it's like a very lesser portion of an untapped market. Although there are many, many sellers on Zazzle, there's not as many sellers on Zazzle that there are on Etsy. And Zazzle has so many more opportunities for you for product design and product choices, for customer service, for like seller service as well. Zazzle's always trying their best to make the seller experience the best possible, where they're updating their platform, they're getting new products to sell, they're introducing new things into their design tool, so many different things. Plus, Zazzle also does a lot of external marketing. So that's one thing that we actually didn't touch on is that on your Etsy listings, you have to either promote them somehow, by sending ads to them, by posting them on Pinterest, by putting them on your blog, by just outreaching, because Etsy listings are harder to find than if you were to be on Zazzle. And Zazzle actually creates ads for Zazzle products. So you could be featured, your own invitation or design that you created could be featured on a Google AdSense ad on a random website. I found, I go on a news website sometimes and I see that Zazzle has a banner and it is featuring a whole bunch of products from Zazzle. And so you're able to be marketed without even knowing that you're being marketed.
And that's how interesting it is. Like Jenna just said, you are being marketed. We talk like that because every one of our products is an asset, and it's our company, right? It's our company. We are promoting the product, and we're selling the product, and so that's how important it is for you to take ownership of your products. You can't just go like, okay, I hope Etsy shows my product. It's your livelihood. It's your ability to earn money. And if you don't take it by the, in charge, don't get, you have to be in charge of your own destiny and not just go like, oh, well, Etsy has to make me push, like jump through all these hoops. Otherwise I can't be part of the team. Why don't you go and say, well, do I really need to jump through these hoops? And if I don't, why am I doing it? Right.
Hmm.
And is it more lucrative? Oh, well, because I get to keep more of the money. But do the cost analysis and find out whether or not your time is better served elsewhere, in a different business model, which in this case, check out Zazzle. And
Hmm.
just to make sure that you get the best advantage, we have a really great downloadable for you that's free. We're going to give you the 150 top niches, product types, and the keywords that go along with it that are trending for 2025. And we're giving you sub niches in each of the niches that you can just take advantage of and start right away. Because if you're an Etsy seller and you're just moving over, you're going to go like, well, can I sell my products that I sold on Etsy? Yes. And can you find additional markets to be in now because, you have much broader ability to sell? Yes. So use the downloadable that's in the link down below in the
Hmm.
description.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.